Greetings and bienvenue, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Jeremy Wormy, and Borderlands 4 is just around the corner, set to release in September of this year. Even though when it comes to the overall audience for Borderlands, yeah, they're pretty much like what they actually get from them. They like the repetitive nature of looter shooters, and I can't really blame them, and I'm not gonna knock them for actually being fans of this particular franchise anymore. But recently, Randy Pitchford, the CEO of Gearbox, the development company for the Borderlands franchise, decided to come on out here and put his big fat foot in his mouth, in which he basically establishes what he truly thinks of his audience. After quote tweeting Nintendo and informing the audience that Borderlands 4 would be on the Nintendo Switch 2, he ended up getting a reply guy coming on in and saying this: Randy, this game better not be $80. Don't take that risk. A lot of gamers aren't gonna pay $80 and feed this notion of constant increase of the price tag. You are the CEO. You have some say with the price when it comes to your publisher. And to further this point that's being made right here, we can actually use a recent example to back it up. Doom: The Dark Ages, which is being praised by most of the people that are actually playing the game, isn't getting the actual player base over on Steam like most people were expecting it to actually get. But that's because the game takes about 12 to 15 hours to beat, and it might not be an $80 price tag attached to it, but it is a $70 price tag. So instead of going out there and actually paying that money, gamers are actually deciding to go over to Game Pass and play the game for essentially free. Well, free with a $15 a month price tag attached to it, but that's splitting hairs here. But Randy responds with, A, not my call. B, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991 when I was just out of high school working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen.
I need that money. I really do. I need that money to pay my bills, the electric bill, the internet bill.
One, that's really telling of what you actually end up thinking of your overall audience, that the only way to be an actual fan of your overall product is if you're willing to ship out that $80 right there. Furthermore, utilizing 1991 numbers to actually help benefit your overall argument isn't that great, considering back then that yes, game prices were actually astronomical, especially compared to now. Even when you take into account of inflation, game prices are actually at an all-time low. Thing is though, back then game prices were also a whole lot higher for a whole lot of different reasons. Things like the actual packaging of the game, the overall coding, the overall creation of the chips, so on and so forth. Compared to now, it's actually a whole lot cheaper to make games, so that argument right there actually gets kicked in the teeth no matter how many times these AAA developers try to say that, hey, it's actually costing us more money now to actually produce these games. Usually that's because they have an exorbitant amount of people working on these games, and that's the overall justification for why these game budgets are so high.
Hate you both.
But following all this, Randy Pitchford, understanding that, well, he put his big fat foot in his massive mouth, decided to tweet out a little clip here trying to justify his reasoning.
What will the game's price be? That's an interesting one. I don't know this.
The price, really, now? I'll tell you the truth. I don't know. And that is the truth. I'll hit it. I'll hit it straight on. And it's an interesting time, right? We've got on one level, we've got a competitive marketplace where people or the people that make those choices want to sell as many units as possible, and they want to be careful about people that are price sensitive. So there's some folks that don't want to see prices go up, even the ones deciding what the prices are. There's other folks accepting the reality that game budgets are increasing and there's tariffs for the retail packaging, and like, it's getting gnarly out there, you guys. Borderlands 4 has more than twice the development budget than Borderlands 3. More than twice. The truth is, I don't know what the price is going to be. I do know that we will be opening pre-orders soon, TM, and that will be when the price is set. I think that Borderlands 4, here's the philosophy we have. Whatever the price is, we're entertainers. Yes, we want to get more resources so we can make bigger and better games. There's a reason why Borderlands 4 is so awesome. It's because you guys showed up and supported Borderlands 3. And we had the budget, so we could more than double the budget and feel confident in that. And that's awesome. When the revenue comes in, we could spend it to make bigger games and better games. As artists, we want everybody to have it. You know, we want to make it as easy as possible for everybody to enjoy what we're creating. So it's a weird thing, but the fundamental philosophy is we want people to buy it so we have the resources to make more, but we want everyone who buys and plays a Gearbox game to feel certain that they got the better end of the bargain. Whatever the price is, that they got the best value. And that's the philosophy that we live by. And so we're gonna have a price set soon, and it might be the new price that like Nintendo and Microsoft have led with. It might be that we stay back. It's gonna be the people at the publishing house that decide that. And if it is cheaper, then maybe we'll sell you that mini map that you guys want, but we'll develop later. How bad do you want that? $10? I don't know. I'm just kidding. Or am I? I'm just kidding. Or am I? I'm just kidding. Or am I? I don't know. We'll know soon. Yeah. I think it's going to be fine, whatever it ends up being. I think it's going to be amazing, whatever it is. Borderlands is fucking amazing, and it's worth it.
I'm sorry, that's a new one. Who are you exactly?
Yes, he's trying to come out here and use a bunch of fancy words and try to say, listen, we want everybody to actually play these games, and we want people to actually care to play these games and feel like they're getting the bang for their buck here. But the sad reality is, considering games like Claire Obscure's Expedition 33 is a $50 price tag for the baseline game and a $60 price tag for the deluxe edition, and that game was made by a literal skeleton crew, and they managed to put out a game that people are praising constantly, you really have to start thinking, what is it that they're actually putting their money into? These are night and day things. One's a AAA developer, the other one's a AA developer, and the AA developer put out a high quality game for a whole lot less than most AAA industries are right now.
That's impressive!
And yes, you can end up hearing him try to blame Nintendo, Trump, Microsoft, or any of these people for being the reason why they might go down that $80 price tag. We have no idea, even though I already said that the real fans would actually pay that $80. This whole discussion actually started happening late January when an economist came out here and tried to say that GTA 6 should be $100 because they're hoping to just convince people to pay that money.
So many retards. And you know what's the worst thing? That they're confident retards.
And that's why gamers are actually rejecting a lot of this stuff, because there's no real justification for any of this. Again, we can go back to some of these older price tags. Yes, games were a whole lot more expensive back then, and when you account for inflation, most of these games are costing upwards of $100 depending on the platform. But the thing is though, back then making video games cost a whole lot more money, just like I said at the beginning of this video. And as time has gone on, we have been told over and over again that games were going to be cheaper. Heck, that's one of the main justifications for going with digital platforms, that would inevitably make gaming cheaper because, well, you're no longer buying the physical product. You're no longer paying for the actual packaging, but they found ways to justify increasing these prices all the same time. And all while they're raising up these budgets, what are you getting in return? You're getting nothing. You're getting slop. You're getting bug-filled games that are constantly glitching out. And when you call it out, instead of just accepting the criticism, they try to justify their choices.
You're such a bad person.
But an inconvenient truth does occur though when it does come to video games, and why a lot of these developers end up thinking that they can price gouge you out of your own hobby. It's because we kind of allowed them to. And hold up, I already hear the keyboards typing right now. I'm not blaming you specifically. I'm making a broader point on this overall issue. Gamers have gone out there over and over again and have decided to give these developers money for things that they thought they actually needed. And good examples of this, well, honestly, is Horse Armor and Oblivion.
What the fuck?
A $10 DLC, yes, but all you got was Horse Armor. And there's other examples of this. One of my favorite examples of developers trying to screw over gamers is actually Wrath of Ashura, where if you wanted the actual ending for the game, you had to buy a DLC to see what actually happens at the final chapters. We all brought this on ourselves. And again, I'm not saying you, the individual, I'm talking as gamers as a whole. We allowed this to happen. We didn't call it out when we should have. We justified buying that season pass for that single player video game. We are the people that brought us to this point. And only now are gamers truly fighting back, mainly because, again, a lot of these AAA games that we're getting nowadays are just slop. It's rinse and repeat. It's buggy filled messes. It's things that people don't want to actually spend $80 for and can't even justify, especially within today's overall market. And it doesn't matter if Randy Pitchford's over here trying to muddy the waters and say, well, I mean, I'm just talking and I'm just going off what I can, or I'm not the one that ultimately decides what the prices are. Don't let him get away from what he also said. Where at the same time, he tried to justify his statement by saying real fans will come out here and buy this. That's what a lot of these studios think. Because we didn't call it out when we should have, they think that they can just get away with it and they're going to get that money no matter what, because what else are you gonna do? But with the rise of things like Expedition 33, Black Myth Wukong, Stellar Blade, or any of these other AA video games or indie games that I'm not mentioning here, they're being priced at more reasonable rates. And what you're actually getting is bang for your buck, because you're getting better storylines, you're getting more in-depth gameplay, and you're getting things that people actually care about. All in all we continue to see is the AAA industry is becoming more and more disconnected from its overall base and no longer cares about actually catering to gamers, but prefers to actually cater more to the corporate structure of everything. But hey, that's what I have to say on this overall topic. But let me get your guys' thoughts on all this down in the comments below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share it out friends, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for every time I put out a video and go live, guys. And I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.